Today's show, Dolphins fans, who can this man right here? You see that little grin? I see it. Chris Grier. Who could he sign to the Dolphins roster after they added Marcus Maye a couple days ago? I got 5 free agent targets in this video that we'll touch on. All right, I am Nic Rohloff. This is Dolphins Today by Chat Sports. I am excited to talk about some updated free agent targets list because one team need is gone. You no longer need a safety. That took up about 30% of our free agent targets we've always talked about. But who are the top 5 guys I think the Dolphins could sign this offseason still to really upgrade this roster? But before I give you my 5 names, let me hear your top name. Who is your top free agent that you want Chris Grier and this Dolphins front office to add before we get underway in training camp and in the regular season? Drop a name for me down below. I think it's important to look at where the Dolphins are in cap space-wise, though. And this is a rough estimation. They currently, if you were to look it up, is about $18.8 million. But after the May signing, they signed Patrick Paul a couple days ago as well, finally, to his rookie deal. And hopefully when they get Chop Robinson locked up relatively soon, you'll have probably around $9 million in free agency money to spend. So there is enough out there to go get another guy on $3-4 million, which would still allow you to have $5 million in cap space entering the season, just in case of an injury. The blueprint is there to add probably one more solid piece to this Dolphins roster. So let's see who it could be. Number 1, and it will always be number 1, is Greg Van Roten, the offensive guard, formerly of the Las Vegas Raiders and Carolina Panthers. I will absolutely die on this hill that he is the top guy Grier should go out and get. I have just been so skeptical of this right guard spot of the Miami Dolphins. I like what you have everywhere else besides right guard. They're trying to replace Robert Hunt. It's going to be a tough person to replace because of how solid he was for Miami a year ago. Robert Jones, Jack Driscoll, Liam Eichenberg, and Lester Cotton are the 4 guys trying to do that and vie for that starting spot. But I just don't really believe they're going to be able to do it at a sufficient enough level, which is why bringing in Van Roten, who played 17 games for the Raiders last year, put up a career high in pass blocking grade, which ranked top 10 amongst interior offensive linemen, has also played right guard for most of his career. To me, Greg Van Roten just completes this Dolphins roster. And sure, there would still be question marks about defensive line and who could be paired up with Zach Sealer, but that is one that is kind of a secondary need. You do need a right guard and a starting one. Unless you truly believe one of the 4 guys I mentioned already on this depth chart that can do it, I don't know if they can. I'd go Greg Van Roten free agency. Probably only cost you $3 million. Just kind of like a similar to OBJ type deal. Yeah, makes a lot of sense to me. Chris Grier, let's get it done. Number 2, we will head to that defensive line area and go with Calais Campbell, the 37, 38-year-old that is still just doing big things in the National Football League. And to me, Calais Campbell gives you the best of both worlds if you're trying to upgrade this defensive line, because we know they need someone along Zach Sealer to help him stop the run on the interior. But there is also some question marks at the edge position. Is Jalen Phillips, is Bradley Chubb going to be ready to go for week 1 against Jacksonville? I'm not sure. What Campbell does is he gives you the ability to play him inside, play him outside. He can rush the passer and get 6.5 sacks and 17 QB hits. He can also stuff the interior and have 10 TFLs and really be a dominant force in the run defense part of your defense. I love it. I know he's old, but he's still got a lot left to give. And if he wants to play for a contending team, well, then Miami makes a lot of sense for him because he would get a lot of PT. He would be able to have a large role on a team trying to contend for a Super Bowl. Campbell can do it all. I like what he brings to the table, and I know that he is on the older side, folks, but it does not matter. It'd be a 1-year deal. It'd be a cheap deal, and the versatility that he gives you is so enticing to me to be able to play him alongside Zach Sealer against the run on the interior, but also bump him outside if absolutely necessary. You don't feel comfortable playing chop Mohamed Kamara or Shaq Barrett, or if one of them gets hurt, you have the depth and insurance of Calais Campbell. We mentioned the signing of Marcus Maye from the Miami Dolphins. We brought you a video right away, and I mean right away. 15 minutes after the news dropped, we had something on the channel. If the Dolphins make another signing, we'll make another video, so make sure you hit that sub button. How about Connor Williams? Could you bring him back to the Miami Dolphins roster? It's an intriguing thing that we can talk about here. I'd love to bring Connor Williams back to this team. And I know some people are going to be skeptical of that after he tore his ACL last year on Monday Night Football. But Williams just was so solid for the Dolphins blocking-wise, and there's still a need at right guard. You signed Aaron Brewer to be your replacement at center, and that's fine. But Williams, before he came to Miami and was a center, he played offensive guard. So I truly do believe he would be able to do that. He's going to take some while and time to get back and get that knee perfectly healthy, but you can stash him on your bench, let the other people play, and when Connor Williams is ready to go in the middle of the season, you can fortify this offensive line. And he would be one of the better guys that you could fortify this line with. Like, there's always been the questions with Connor Williams on how well he is as a center because he's inconsistent with his snapping, right? But as a pure blocker, he's terrific. One of the best run blocking guys in the entire NFL, putting up back-to-back seasons of 85-plus grade. Also had back-to-back years of 78-plus grade overall. Doesn't give a lot of sacks. The penalties are a question at times, but he is one of the better interior offensive linemen in the NFL when completely healthy, and I can see the Dolphins bringing him back. I really can. Like, if Chris Grier analyzes this roster during the preseason, during training camp, what he's already saw in minicamp, and says, hey, like, we're optimistic about these right guard replacements and what they can do as a committee, but I'd like to have a real top guy kind of in my chamber if need be, well, then sign Connor Williams to a one-year deal, prove-it deal that will allow him to get cashing in or to cash in next offseason as well if he comes back and plays well. And then week 6, week 8 during the NFL season, if your right guard spot is still an issue, well, there's Connor Williams coming off the bench ready to go from injury. I could see it happening, and I'm kind of all in on the idea. So would you bring back Connor Williams? Make the call for me. Be Chris Grier. Would you bring back Connor Williams in free agency? Type Y for yes or type N for no. How about Emmanuel Ogbah, the edge for the Miami Dolphins just a year ago? Could he return to the 305? He's still currently a free agent, and he spent the last 4 seasons of his career in Miami. So there's some familiarity there, and he's had some good success for the Dolphins as well. Like, he had a one-down season, but his first 2 years in Miami, he was fantastic. 42, 41 tackles, 9 sacks apiece as well. Ogbah was one of the better edge rushers on this Dolphins team, and then really just took a turn for worse in 22 due to missing some time and wasn't really able to gain his full roll back and dominant performance in 2023. But you might ask yourself, well, why is Ogbah on this list, and why would you sign an edge? You have Bradley Chubb, Jalen Phillips, Shaq Barrett. You drafted 2 guys in Mo Kamara and Chop Robinson, right? Well, if you don't like where Jalen Phillips and Bradley Chubb are in their recovery, as they're recovering from 2 significant injuries, well, then why wouldn't you get more depth? Then maybe you just don't feel comfortable having your edge rotation being a Shaq Barrett, Chop Robinson, and Mo Kamara right off the bat. And you want to bring in Ogbah to at least get you off the ground. Like, the depth will never be something I get upset about. The insurance will be good, and Ogbah could still be a good rotation piece if Chris Grier deems it necessary to add one. Last free agent target we're going to talk about here is Mark Glowinski, the offensive lineman, another right guard, who did not have his best year in 2023, but has had some good years in the past. Like, he had 2 solid seasons in Indianapolis just 3 and 4 years ago, and then signed with the Giants and was spotty, and then kind of got his starting spot taken in 2023, but he was good in Indy. A right guard as well, so he fits that exact team need that you have. More of a run blocking guy than a pass blocking type guard, and when you watch his film, he is a bruiser, man. He plays with some ferocity, man. Like you watch it, and sometimes he just wants to beat the living crap out of these linebackers and secondary members. When he gets to the second level and really starts to move up that chain of the defense, he just looks to start pounding people, dude. I'm being dead serious. He would be someone that would be probably same price range as Van Roten, but he would also be someone that you're not guaranteeing that starting right guard spot too. He'd likely have to compete to earn that starting job, but could be someone I would be all in on adding due to the fact he could be making this a more competitive fight for that right guard spot. We talked about 2 right guards in our 5 free agent target list. Pick one for me. Number 1 guy I'd sign is GVR, so I'm typing my GVRs for Greg Van Roten. But maybe you are a Mark Glowinski guy. If you are, type those MGs. You can continue the conversation over on my Twitter, by the way. At Nic_Rohloff is the handle. You would have heard about the Marcus Maye signing first on my Twitter, and then we made a video about it. Same thing goes for any of these guys. If they make a signing, I'll have the news first on my Twitter, and then we'll make a show on YouTube. So if you want to stay informed to the best of your ability, follow me at Nic_Rohloff.